What is up, my friends? It is Hippo, and happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate. But here, we celebrate Hippomas. I know it's been such a long 2024. Honestly, it's been a long 2020s, and I think sometimes we all just wish we could go back to our childhoods. Christmas parties in elementary school for Americans are probably some of their most nostalgic memories, and really the holiday season in general. As a kid, it's just so grand and so wondrous, and God, what I would give to just feel that again. Wait. A Panda Express fortune cookie from my lunch earlier. Crack that baby open. Ooh. I can feel that again. I just need to explore physical media that was from my childhood. So, as I sip on my hot cocoa and sit by my cozy fire, I think it's time that we all together take a look at Cartoon Network Christmas Rocks. Cartoon Network Christmas Rocks was a DVD set of Christmas episodes from Cartoon Network shows. I used to watch this every year when I was younger. It was a little tradition for me, and even thinking about the idea of going back and watching it now has me really nostalgic. This isn't even a rebought copy. This is the exact same disc that I had as a kid. I figure that this Hippomas, ending out my first year as a content creator, this is the perfect way to do it. The actual box is pretty nice, with a bunch of different cartoon characters playing in this sort of Christmas concert. Up here, you can see that the Cartoon Network logo is themed for Christmas. It has like an ornament in one of the O's, and then there's like snow on the top there with these holiday lights draping the sides. I quite like it. It's a nice vibe. The back here just kind of gives you an explanation of what you'll be seeing. It's also all on one disc, which is definitely appreciated because back in the day, especially for TV shows, it was not guaranteed that everything was going to be on one disc. Actually, nowadays, I don't even know if that's guaranteed. So starting off in the menus here, it's this cute movie theater theme, and you can pick from individual episodes or just play them all as an hour-and-a-half movie. Now, this being said, there are 8 episodes of shows on here, but only 5 of them are Christmas. Ed, Edd and Eddy, Jingle, Jingle, Jangle, Dexter's Laboratory, Dexter vs. Santa Claus, Courage the Cowardly Dog, The Snowman Cometh, I Am Weasel, Happy Baboon Holidays, and Johnny Bravo, 'Twas the Night. There are also 3 bonus non-Christmas episodes of The Powerpuff Girls, Codename Kids Next Door, and Billy and Mandy. I won't be looking at those 3 today. I mean, after all, it's Hippomas. We need to keep in with the theme. If you were a viewer of mine, you might recall Hippo Halloween, where I ranked the sitcom Halloween specials, and that's basically what I'm going to be doing here as well. For those who haven't seen that video, basically, I'm going to rate these episodes on how well they work as Christmas specials on top of still being good episodes of their respective shows. So without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, sit back, relax, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and let's dive into Cartoon Network Christmas Rocks. The first special is Ed, Edd and Eddy's Jingle, Jingle, Jangle. Now, off the bat, this episode is technically a special. Ed, Edd and Eddy did, I believe, 4 of these that are half an hour, and they don't technically count as episodes of Ed, Edd and Eddy. Jingle, Jingle, Jangle isn't available on Max, so if you went back now and watched all of Ed, Edd and Eddy on Max, you wouldn't know that Jingle, Jingle, Jangle exists. It starts off with old Johnny and Plank catching snowflakes in their mouth and moves into a title sequence, and off the bat, the Christmas vibes are off the charts. It's Christmas Eve, and Eddy is rummaging through his house, eventually ending up in the attic because he's looking for the Christmas present stash. He's angry once he finds it because all of the presents are clothes.
A dickie? They still make these?
Eddy's flashlight shines into a mirror and illuminates a shining star. We then see the Kanker sisters opening up presents at the trailer park until they notice this illuminated star. So they bundle up and head out into the snow to see what all this hullabaloo is. Next up, we check in with Ed, the goat, one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. And he brings the family chimney into his room with his unmatched strength. He's so happy and excited for Christmas with that childlike wonder I think we all miss. Double D comes to visit Ed, and after they spend a little bit of time together, Eddy shows up to vent about the fact that all he got was clothes. Double D tries to comfort him, saying that Christmas isn't about getting, but it's about giving and the spirit of it all, but Eddie is not receptive to that at all. He decides that he's going to go out and try to get adopted by a new family in the cul-de-sac so that he can have a better Christmas. So first he stops off at Johnny's house, which he has made into this insane ice castle, and Johnny is just not interested in adopting Eddie. Next up is Rolf, who has his own holiday traditions, being from whatever country he's from, and, well, it's something. Rolf has nothing for Eddie, so Eddie moves on to Nat's house. He's about to get a kiss and some presents until he spits eggnog all over her, which is a crazy generational fumble. Like, dude, you were about to have it all, and in a moment, you sold. That's crazy. Back to the Canker sisters' journey, and they found wieners, pennies, and a coat. You may notice their silhouettes kind of look like three wise men, almost. Huh. Double D and Ed have now set out to try and instill a better Christmas spirit into Eddie, but they have no luck.
Forsake your journey, Eddie. You are not beyond the path of redemption.
Eddie moves on to Jimmy's house, and Jimmy shows him this beautiful gingerbread village that he made and these desserts that he's baked. And Eddie eats the village. That made me sad as a kid, but Jimmy calls over Sarah, the protector, and she kicks Eddie out. As a last resort, Eddie goes to pathetically beg Kevin, and Kevin gives him the old punch-in-a-box prank. I cannot believe Eddie fell for that. Even he is smarter than that, but he is just so desperate. Eddie's sad now. He's exhausted all his options, so he wades out into the night alone until he stumbles upon a Christmas tree with a dim light. He has a light bulb in his pocket from earlier and decides to replace it. Just then, Ed and Double D come out and praise Eddie for finally acting unselfishly, and the whole of the cul-de-sac gang come to see the tree and its community once more. All of a sudden, old Saint Nick shows up and drops off some presents for the cul-de-sac gang, and fun fact, this is actually the very first time you hear an adult speak in the series. Eddie, still being the selfish Eddie at heart, grabs the bag and runs off with all of the presents instead of sharing them, and not even sharing them, but giving them to who they're for. Ed chases after him, upset because he doesn't want to anger Santa, and they fight over the bag. It gets launched over because of Ed's incredible strength and lands right back where it needs to be. Just then, the Canker sisters find them, and it literally becomes the nativity scene. Eddie is baby Jesus, so I'm not sure what that's trying to imply, but okay.
Well, this image certainly has the Christmas spirit.
And that's the episode. All right, out of the gate, an extremely strong episode. I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10. This episode wastes no time. Every shot in this episode is snowy and Christmassy and beautiful, and I just love it. I love that it teaches kids about that classic moral of not being selfish, and I love the music in the episode. The vibes are immaculate. This is what a Christmas cartoon special should look like. Now, I'm definitely biased. This one was my favorite as a kid, and Ed, Edd n Eddy when I was a kid was also in my top 3 obsession shows. I honestly got a little emotional watching it again, as corny as that is. Now, this was half an hour, but the next 4 episodes are much shorter, only coming in at 12 episodes, so do note that. I'm not talking about them less because I like them less than Ed, Edd n Eddy. It's just less to talk about. Next up is Dexter versus Santa Claus. Dee Dee is messing around in Dexter's lab as always, but this time she's not really messing around. She's writing out her Christmas list on his supercomputer. Dexter makes fun of her, saying that Santa isn't real, and they argue over it. Dexter's idea of what his parents do to get the presents under the tree is so over the top, but Dee Dee doesn't back down. Santa is real.
Dad dresses up in the Santa get-up, and then he puts the car up on the rooftop. He makes the car look like a sleigh, dear, and Mom dresses up just like a reindeer. She greases up Dad so she can slide down the chimney and put all our presents around the tree.
Dexter decides that he wants to prove to Dee Dee that it's their dad that's Santa and that Santa isn't real, so he camps out at his supercomputer surveillance setup and waits for Santa to show up. When Santa gets there, Dexter goes out to confront him, still believing that it's his dad. Dexter tries to shave Santa's beard and then ends up fighting Santa's reindeer and rips off its antlers. Santa flees, but the sleigh isn't as fast as Dexter's fighter jet. I guess Dexter doesn't really care that he still thinks it's his dad because he starts lobbing missiles at it, which would definitely kill anybody, but it's a cartoon, so we can forgo the realism. They crash into the living room and destroy everything. Dexter violates Santa and ruins everything, and that's how Dexter became the Grinch. I give this one a 7 out of 10. I like the idea of an episode where a character just actually fights and assaults Santa. It's pretty funny. The vibes are there, but they're definitely not as immaculate as Ed, Edd n Eddy's. A lot of the shots are kind of in Dexter's gross gray lab, and again, it's a much shorter episode, so they did have less chances to show that off. But once they're out of Dexter's lab and he's fighting Santa, it's great. Also, the end of the episode's moral is it is about the presents, which I thought was pretty funny.
Christmas tree! You blockhead! That's not what Christmas is about! It's not? Then what is it about?
The presents. Ho, ho, ho!
All right, next up is Courage the Cowardly Dog's The Snowman Cometh. Courage, Eustace, and Muriel are on vacation in the Arctic. Courage has to go outside and get wood for a fire, but he runs into this sinister-looking snowman. He tries to take its arms for the wood, but then the snowman is alive and yells at him.
And what do you think you're doing? Put that back.
Courage runs back to the igloo to warn Muriel and Eustace, but as always, they just kind of ignore him, and then we see the snowman at his castle. It's actually a massive ice castle, and he's going down this hall that has pictures of all these passed away snowmen. We learn that he is the last of all the snowmen, and he basically says that the reason for that is climate change. 2005, by the way.
It's been getting warmer and warmer. And if it continues, I will melt. And there will be no more snowmen.
Courage sees him working on this device, and basically what it does is changes the DNA of humans and snowmen so that humans will actually melt in hotter weather, and snowmen won't have to worry about that anymore. The snowman goes back and kidnaps Muriel and Eustace as always, and Courage has to go and save them. They fight a little bit. He actually succeeds and turns Eustace into a water droplet, but in the end, Courage wins and they catch a cruise ship home. So you may have noticed something. This episode had literally nothing to do with Christmas. Yes, it was in the Arctic and it was snowy, but that's not the North Pole and that's not Christmas. 0 out of 10. I don't know why this is on Cartoon Network Christmas Rocks. It is a good Courage the Cowardly Dog episode. It's actually a pretty good one compared to, Courage the Cowardly Dog in its entirety, but it just isn't a Christmas episode. It's underwhelming for what this was supposed to be. Now, next up is I Am Weasels Happy Baboon Holidays, and I've got to be honest, I kind of hated this one as a kid, and I'm not even sure why. It just never appealed to me. But let's see how it holds up now. Baboon's family comes to visit him for Christmas, and he actually didn't remember it was Christmas, so he rushes to clean up his trailer when Weasel comes and finds his family now frozen over because Baboon has been taking so long. He takes them back to his penthouse and he freaks it. He thaws them out. So Baboon is trying to set up for Christmas still, and Weasel has basically just taken his family. They're decorating his tree and singing carols and having a grand old time. They don't even seem to remember that they were there to see Baboon. Baboon sees this and then starts to destroy his own stuff and vows to ruin Christmas for everyone in his anguish. He sets up landmines to kill Santa, which is insane. If you thought the Dexter episode was against Santa, this is a whole new level. Once the anger kind of subsides, though, he just breaks down and starts crying because really he's not angry, he just feels abandoned and lonely. Weasel sees this, though, and he decides to bring him his family back. Then Santa goes into the landmines and nearly fucking dies. The end of the episode is literally Santa saying to Weasel that this has happened 7 times this night and that he doesn't think delivering presents anymore is worth it. But then Weasel points out Baboon enjoying time with his family and posits that no, actually, it is worth it. Look at all this love that you're bringing. And that's the end of the episode. I will give this one a 4 out of 10. I honestly don't like this show, but I have to admit that it is a nice Christmas plot, but that's about where all the positives end. I like the message of family and stuff, but really there's no real resolution in it anywhere. It's just all kind of things happening by circumstance. And I understand that's kind of what this show is, but still. Also, the vibes and kind of general Christmas air aren't really there as much. A lot of the shots are indoors in non-decorated places, and I don't really mess with that. I do think the landmine thing is pretty funny, but that's not enough to bring it over a 4. All right, last up, Johnny Bravo's 'Twas the Night.
And all through Erin's city, not a creature was stirring except Johnny.
Man, I'm pretty.
Adam West gives us narration as Mama sleeps, and Johnny looks at himself in the mirror all aloof. All of a sudden, we hear commotion on the roof. Thinking it's a crook, he goes to take him on and gives him a good lick. But in fact, it's old Saint Nick. Santa gives him his 2 cents and then sends him off to finish delivering presents. Johnny delivers to Susie, Jungle Boy, Kronos, and Scooby-Doo too. Finally, the night is over. Santa's still fuming, but Johnny and Mama focus on the gifts they're consuming. So I hope you enjoyed my rhyming. That was not an original idea. That was actually the entirety of the episode was Adam West's narration rhyming like an old Christmas tale. Absolutely gorgeous. This is another 10 out of 10. Another example of a really nice Christmas plot. Johnny learns the joy of giving to others. It's a cute little adventure for him, and it ends with the characters kind of happy and fine. I love, love, love the Christmas Carol vibe. Adam West is a treasure. His narration and rhyming is so good. Overall, guys, I think that was an awesome Hippomas. I'm so happy that I got to watch these episodes as a kid, and I'm so happy that now as a content creator, I got to share those with you if you haven't already seen them. Physical media is something that is sort of dying. I was so upset when Best Buy announced that they're going to stop selling DVDs and Blu-rays. I mean, that is just so lame. So to be able to hold on to these old relics of the past is really even more of a privilege than it was back then. If you have any special holiday memories from cartoons or TV or movies or just anything in general that you would like to share, please do so in the comments and let's give some supportive replies, guys. Let's be nice to each other. Let's be kind. Let's share memories that we want more people to get to know. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Spend time with your loved ones. Drink some hot cocoa, sit by the fire. Maybe turn this video on in the living room for all your family to see. Hi, Uncle Richard. Hi, Uncle Mark. Hi, Jessica's mom. Hi, Aunt Sheila. Did I get any? Hi, Aunt Serena. Other than that, go check out my video on the weird Netflix sexy snowman movie, Hot Frosty. That's also sort of a Christmas video, but it's not as Christmassy as this one, but I am reviewing a Christmas movie, so, go check it out. And like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in 2025. Merry Hippomas, and to all those, a good night.